Well, indeed, it is a happy new year and indeed a blessed new year. Once again, we're here to be able to share these messages of encouragement and inspiration. I'm Reverend Dr. William L. Johnson III, a chaplain here at Christian Hospital Northeast in St. Louis, Missouri. Every week, we try to share these messages of encouragement and inspiration, hoping that in some way, as you are listening during the course of your week or even in your life, you may be able to pull from these messages and be encouraged and empowered as you face challenges, face victories, valleys, difficulties, whatever it is that you might be facing in life, that you may find comfort and encouragement along the way. We want you to know for sure, for those who are serving other people, maybe perhaps hospital staff throughout the hospital, or maybe administration who finds yourself with heavy decisions to make as you lead the institution in which many of us are part of, or maybe perhaps you're a pastor or a leader in your community, or just simply a person who's trying to do the best you can in your own life and in your own family. Whatever it is that you have, we want you to know that you are loved, you are appreciated, and you are irreplaceable. As we share our message beginning this new year, I want to first of all thank so many of you for sticking with us as we have shared and journeyed along the way with your many comments and words of encouragement to us as we've been trying to share these messages. They mean so much. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Now, today's message today is entitled Travel Light. It is an admonition. Travel light. Well, what do you mean by travel light? Well, let me begin with a series of stories that I think might be helpful. I read a story written by Mark Nepo, who was one of my favorite authors, as you have probably, those of you who've been tuning in have probably realized. I really like Mark Nepo. He's a deep thinker, and he has some profound statements that resonate with my experience. Well, here, along the way, he tells a story of a guy who's a friend of his who decides to go and decides to paint his living room. And in doing so, he goes to the hardware store early in the morning, determined to make some changes in his household and his home. And he goes to the hardware store, gets the paint, gets them mixed up, all the things that he needs to have. He has the sticks for stirring. He has the paint brushes that he needs. He has everything he needs to paint the room. And when he finally gets home, he prepares to grab everything out of the car and out of the truck, rather. And on his way in, he wants to carry it all. He doesn't want to make any second trips, not another trip to the car to try to get these things out. He wants it all. He wants to get started right away. And when he gets to the door, he has not a toothbrush, a paintbrush in his mouth. He has pails of paint in his hand. He has all of the supplies with him. And sure enough, as he tries to get into the door, he can't figure out how to get into the door with all that he has in his hands. And so he tries just the same and thought he could juggle it, only to slip and fall and spill paint all over himself and lose everything that he was holding. Well, you know what the moral of the story is that sometimes as we are now preparing for these next steps, next few weeks, next month, next year, we are walking into a new place with determination, with our resolutions in hand. And we have all these things that we want to do and all these things that we didn't do last year that we are deciding that we're going to make sure we do now, only to discover that you can't take all the stuff from last year and cram it into this year. There are things that we were disappointed with last year. There are difficulties, some heartbreak, some hardship. We've had some struggles, really, honestly, we really have. And sometimes those moments can interject themselves into our present moment. Yeah, our failures from yesterday, or the struggles of the things that we didn't get a chance to accomplish. We want to be sure to do all that we were to do yesterday and try to do it today, without an understanding that today has enough stuff of its own. And so the admonition or the encouragement that I give you is to travel light. Well, what's your biblical reference? There's a story in the Bible. The Synoptic Gospels pick it up at various points, but in general, here's what the story is. Jesus is preparing to send the disciples out to do their ministry, and they are excited about this new thing they're about to do. Uh, but he gives them some strange instructions. He says to them, "Now, when you get ready to go, take no extra money in your pocket. Don't take any extra clothes for you to travel. I know you're going to be gone a while, but don't take any extra clothes or any extra coats. Don't take, extra sandals. Take what you have. Travel light." And the strangeness of these instructions is that anyone who knows what travel is like, you want to have everything you need to be prepared for whatever may come. Some of us are like that. I'm terrible at packing. I find myself pouring more into the bag, then I have to take everything out just so I can get it weighed in, so I can travel and put it on a plane. It's insanity. But I don't want to be caught without a jacket or the right tie or an appropriate shirt or the right pair of pants or the right outfit for the right occasion. I want to make sure I have all that I need. And inevitably, I always forget to pack something. So I try to pack everything so I don't lose the things that I need. However, here's what I've learned, that overpacking can be a problem. One, it can be really difficult to move on. It is really hard to travel and drag things around. You'd rather someone else carry all that stuff around, and you're not going to need half of the stuff that you're carrying. So the admonition to travel light into this new year is a reminder to us that as we do travel through this new year, we are encouraged to know that what the new year will bring will have more than enough of what we need in the new year, just like we came through with the last one. Yeah, traveling light is an encouragement. It is one of those things that says to us to take only what you need. So much of what we carry, we will never, ever need. And so take only what you need. And if you travel light, which you should, it also is important that you know that you will create room for new things to come. Some of us are trying to figure out how to hold all the old stuff, all the things that we have, and we don't have any room for anything new to come into our lives. In fact, we would rather not have the new stuff, and then we complain about the old stuff that we've been holding on to. You'll never get a new shirt unless you get rid of some of the old ones. You never have room in your closet for new shoes if you don't get rid of some of the old ones. You're never ready for a new relationship until you're ready to release some of the old ones. You'll never be ready for new love until you get over the pain and the hurt of the lost one. It's important to be able to move on with your life. And God sits right in the middle of it because God is the one who gives the admonition to travel light. By traveling light, what we really are saying is that, God, we trust you with our daily needs, not ourselves. That we trust you to feed us. We trust you to help us. We trust you to protect us. And we are not in the place where we're spending our time trying to do all that we can for ourselves so that we can live independently of your presence. Yeah, I know. That's kind of deep, isn't it? That really what's happening when we hear travel light, it is not that we're being aloof or unprepared, but we are being dependent on the faith that has brought us. That the one who loves us most of all says to us, if you need something, I will provide it. You don't have to drag the old stuff into the new place. You don't have to have the old pain into your new possibilities. God wants to do those things in our lives, but we have to travel light. Traveling light should be about delight and not drudgery. Yeah, that's important. Delight and not drudgery. When you travel light, you can enjoy life rather than feeling bogged down in the heavy weight of depression and difficulty that comes with carrying way too much. Some of us overthink beyond measure, and some of us are carrying way too much, things that we never should have carried, other people's responsibilities, other people's ideas, and we sometimes forget that our lives are important too. I wish I had time to tell you the story about Edwin Friedman's story in his Friedman's Fables, if you ever want to look it up. He has so many of these fables, these stories that depict life. He's a psychologist that shares these stories. And in this story, he talks about a bridge, that an individual finally gets clear that it's his or her time to make it to his or her destiny. And while on his or her way, the individual is on their way, they see someone else coming from the other side, and they meet at the center of the bridge. The other person has a rope tied around their waist and was walking up, and before they could exchange pleasantries, the other person asked of the original person, I'll say he or she, and says to that person, "Will you hold this rope for me?" And the person says, "Okay." And they said, "Hold it really, really tight with both hands." And so, okay, unsure why, but before they know it, the person who had the rope tied around their waist jumps over the edge of the bridge and says to the person, "Don't let me go," while they're falling, and said, "Or else I'll die, and my life is in your hands." Some of us feel that way. We're holding on to ropes of other people's responsibilities, other people's choices, other people's desires, and there we are holding the rope for them while they dangle over the side without ever giving effort to try to pull themselves up and pull themselves over. Well, the conclusion of the story is that that individual, after holding and trying to call for help and trying to encourage the other person to help themselves while pulling them up, finally says to them, "I'm missing my destiny holding on to something that I never put my mind to or ever was called to." And eventually says to them, "I'm going to give you a chance at the count of 10 to try to climb up yourself. I'll give you everything I got to try to pull you up. But if you don't want to do it, I have to let you go." And after the count of 10, the other person did not give the attempt. They let go. I know that sounds really rough for a chaplain to say, but I want to remind you, this is not simply about people. This is about your life. And there are certain things that you're called to do in this life that you should do. It's your destiny. And your destiny should be a dance. It should be a delight. It should be joy. It should be love. You should be enjoying your life instead of having it be a duty or a forewarning of your demise or some drudgery that you should not enjoy. You should enjoy your life. And you can only enjoy it when you're moving toward your destiny, the dance, and the delight. Well, I said a lot here, but I'm encouraging you to travel light. Enjoy your life. Laugh, love, live, leave a legacy so that others can see that you didn't just trod through or have a way of trudging through. I don't know if that's a word, but you had a moment to dance, even if you have to sing in the rain. Yeah, I want to encourage you and remind you again as you make your way through the new year, travel light and encourage others to do so. You'll have everything you need. Don't worry. Even if it gets rough and you find yourself brokenhearted or wounded, you'll have the necessary things, the first aid kit for your soul to be able to mend and keep on going. How do I know? Because we've done it before and because God was there all along. I know from experience that this is a rough time to set out to trust God. But I would say, again, from experience, it's no better time to trust God with your journey. As you go through the new year, travel light. Don't carry too many worries. Don't carry too much stress. Don't carry concern for the whole world and all those things. You only have the one life you're given. Live that. It's a beautiful life. It really is. Thank you. Reminding you to leave comments, share an email at william.johnson@bjc.org. We want to encourage you and want to know how to do it better. Thank you so much. Just remember, you're loved, you're appreciated, and you're irreplaceable. Have a great week and have a great year.